Smoke covered the sky. Buildings were broken. The refugee camp on the edge of the galaxy was on fire. Ships had flown away. No one came back. The people hiding in the ruins were silent. Now most of them were gone. Inside a half-burned medbay, a young alien girl lay on the floor. Her body was shaking. Her skin was pale with ash and dust. Her clothes were torn, and her hands were burned. She was still alive. She held a small communicator close to her mouth. Her voice was weak, but she spoke again. Please ... someone. Help me ... anyone ... There was only static in return. She tried again, even softer this time. I don't want to die. Her name was Lyra. She was only 16 galactic cycles. Old, but her people were already gone. Their ship crashed during the attack. The Council had promised safety, but then vanished when the camp was hit. She had been alone for 2 days. Thousands of kilometers away, floating in orbit, a human pilot leaned back in his seat. His ship was old, gray, and fast. Its name was Echo. Red 1, and the pilot was known only by his call sign Rook. He was scanning deep space frequencies. Most of the channels were empty. Then he heard it. A faint voice. Weak. Scared. Help me, please. Rook sat up. What was that? He adjusted the dial and caught the signal again. Please. I'm still here. It was not unofficial. Channels. It wasn't a distress beacon. It was a personal line, most likely a cheap cum device. But it came from the surface of Galactic 7, the burned-out planet under the Council's emergency lockdown. Rook frowned. That planet had been hit 3 days ago. The Galactic Council said there were no survivors. All rescue efforts were shut down. But this signal was live. He opened a line to his fleet. This is Echo Red 1. I picked up a distress signal. From Galactic 7. It sounds like a young female, possibly wounded. A flat voice answered from command. Ignore it. No authorized rescue on that world. Rook narrowed his eyes. She's alive. We can't just leave her. Repeat. You are. Not authorized. Do not land. Do not engage. The cum cut out. Rook stared at the planet below. Clouds of smoke still circled above the surface. The last official reports said the refugee camp was wiped out by unknown attackers. But now, someone was still calling. He leaned back in his seat, fingers tapping the console. He had been a soldier. He had followed orders his whole life. But now, someone was down there, alone, crying for help. A voice no one else wanted to hear. Back on Galactic 7, Lyra curled up against the medbay wall. Her small communicator blinked battery low. She whispered again, Don't go. Please don't go. Her body was weak. She had not eaten in 2 days. Her feet were burned when she ran across the hot metal floor. Her tears had run dry. She looked at the door. Smoke drifted in from the hallway. Fire was creeping closer. Suddenly, her communicator made a sound. Click. Crackle. Then a voice. A human voice. I hear you. Her eyes widened. She sat up fast, coughing hard. Who is this? The voice was calm and strong. My name is Rook. I'm a human pilot. I got your signal. Lyra felt like her chest could explode. You heard me? You're real? Yes, he said. I'm real. I'm above your planet. I'm coming. No one else answered, she said. Everyone left. I didn't, he replied. Stay strong. I'm going to find you. Inside the cockpit of Echo Red 1, Rook closed the channel and stared at his ship's console. Landing would break every rule in the book. The Council could arrest him. Earth could disown him, but he didn't care. He had heard her voice. That was enough. He turned off his ship's beacon, switched his ID to a fake merchant code, powered. The engines. The ship tilted toward the burning world. Rook spoke into his comm one last time. "You're not alone anymore." And with that, he dove into the flames. Asterisk. The moment Rook entered Gravik 7's upper atmosphere, alarms exploded on his screen. Warning. Unauthorized entry. Council violation detected. Penalty. Immediate detainment or termination. Rook ignored them. Flames danced across his cockpit glass as the ship cut through smoke and heat. Below, the refugee camp was a graveyard of metal and ash. The sky was black. Lightning cracked in strange colors, blue and red, twisted by the planet's damaged atmosphere. He didn't care about the warnings. One voice had reached him from that broken world, and that voice was still waiting. But getting there wasn't easy. Suddenly, a pair of Council patrol drones locked onto him. "Unidentified vessel," a cold voice said through open comms. "You are entering a restricted zone. Turn back immediately or face action." Rook replied in a steady tone. "This is Echo Red One. I am responding to a live distress signal. No life forms were reported. Cease approach or we fire." Rook cut the channel. His fingers flew over the controls. The ship jolted as he changed course, dodging the first plasma shot. The second. One grazed his wing. Shields dropped to 40%. He couldn't fight them, not with a small ship like his. But he didn't need to win. He needed to reach her. Far below. Inside the dying medbay, Lyra sat with her knees to her chest. The air was thinner. Now, hot to breathe. Her comm was down to one blinking red light, but she remembered. The voice. Rook. A human. He had promised to come. She didn't believe in promises anymore. Not after the Council abandoned her people. Not after the last of her group ran into the fire and never returned. But still, she waited. Suddenly, the ground shook. Something was coming. She pulled herself to the door and peeked through a crack. A ship, small, gray, fast cut through the black clouds above. It was trailing smoke, but coming down hard. She whispered, "He's real." Rook's ship slammed onto a broken runway just outside the main camp. One landing gear snapped on impact. He fought to keep the ship upright. Systems flickered. Smoke hissed from a control panel, but he was down. He grabbed his suit and stepped outside. Heat slammed into him like a wall. His boots sank into melted rubble. In the distance, fire still burned. Wind carried the smell of ash and something worse, death. His HUD blinked. Life form detected 200 meters. Weak, still alive. He followed. The signal, rifle in hand, not to attack, but to protect. As he moved through the broken camp, he saw what the Council had hidden. Burned bodies, collapsed shelters, destroyed supply crates. Not a war zone. A massacre. And everyone had walked away. Lyra coughed again. Her skin stung from smoke. Her hands were black with dirt. Then, footsteps. Heavy. Fast, she crawled to the entrance. The door shifted. A gloved hand reached in. "Lyra?" She froze. "That?" Voice. She looked up and saw him. A human, tall, armored suit. Burn marks on his shoulder. His helmet was cracked on one side, and a long scar ran down his exposed jaw. But his eyes, they weren't cold like the Council soldiers. They weren't afraid like the others. They were full of fire. "I came for you," he said softly. Lyra burst into tears. Rook knelt beside her and scanned her body. Burns, dehydration, early organ stress. But she could survive with help. He lifted her into his arms. She was light. Too light. As he stood, her voice was barely a whisper. "Why did you come?" He looked down at her. "Because no one else did." They moved fast. The medbay began to collapse as they left. A fuel cell burst behind them, sending up a tower of flame. More drones appeared above. Council ships were coming back to stop him. Back at his ship, Rook laid Lyra in the co-pilot seat and powered up engines. Systems were fried. Shields were down to 12%. It wouldn't make it through another fight. He switched on his emergency broadcast, but not to the Council. To Earth. Echo Red 1. I have a live refugee. She's not just a survivor. She's a witness. Double quote static. Then a voice came back. Copy that, Echo Red 1. Are you requesting support? Rook looked at Lyra. She was staring up at him, eyes full of pain and trust. He pressed the button. No, I'm requesting justice. The ship groaned as it lifted off the scorched ground. Inside the cockpit, warning lights flashed like angry stars. The engines were overheated. Shields were almost gone, and the Council's patrol ships were already moving into position. Rook looked at the girl beside him. Lyra was quiet now, but not asleep. Her eyes moved slowly, watching everything like she couldn't believe this was real. Her hand trembled, gripping the seat tightly. First time flying? Rook asked with a small smile, trying to ease her. She gave a tiny nod. First time being saved. That sentence hit him harder than any plasma round. Outside, Council drones locked onto the Echo Red 1's rising heat trail. One of them fired. A pulse shot. It hit the rear engine. The ship shook violently. Rook swore and slammed his fist on the panel. Engine 3 just died, he muttered. Fine, 2 left. He took control manually, steering through clouds thick with smoke and static. The Council had laid a full no-fly zone over the planet. Breaking out wouldn't be easy. He pushed the ship upward, fast. Then his com buzzed. This is Council command. Unidentified pilot. Turn off your engines and prepare to be boarded. Rook turned on the com. Negative. I've got a living survivor aboard. You left her to die. That life form is classified. Turn back. You are violating interstellar protocol. Rook narrowed his eyes. I'm violating silence. He shut the com and punched the engines to full burn. Back in the co-pilot seat, Lyra watched the stars peek through the dark clouds. She had dreamed of stars as a child. They were beautiful from the ground, but up close, they were surrounded by fire and death. Her voice was soft. Why are they after me? Rook glanced at her. Because you're not just a refugee. She blinked. Then what am I? He hesitated. You're proof that the Council lied, that they left someone behind. She looked down at her burned hands. But I'm nobody. Rook shook his head. You were strong enough to keep calling. That makes you somebody. A second blast hit the hull. The ship tumbled sideways, alarms screaming. Rook fought to control. They were almost out of the atmosphere, but another hit could finish them. Then, from the left, 2 new ships appeared. Council interceptors. Sleek, black, armed. They moved into position. Blocking escape. This is your final warning. A cold voice said. Land now or be destroyed. Rook laughed. You people don't give up, do you? He turned off the com and opened a secret panel on the console. Inside was a small device glowing red, a stealth plasma spike. Illegal on most worlds. Dangerous. If used wrong. He turned to Lyra. Hold on tight. She grabbed her seat. Why? She asked, wide-eyed. Because I'm about to fly like a lunatic. The spike activated with a hiss in one motion. Rook cut power to the main engines, dropped the ship downward, and then reignited the spike. The Echo Red 1 shot upward in a twisting spiral, faster than the drones could lock on. Plasma streams followed them, but missed by inches. 1 Council interceptor followed, but Rook spun the ship around and fired a single rear cannon shot. Direct hit. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of blue flame. The second interceptor backed, off. Above the atmosphere. Now, Stars stretched out like an ocean. But Rook wasn't celebrating. His systems were failing. Only one engine worked. Weapons were offline. And long-range comms were out. "We need help." He muttered "Dot," and a voice came through a private Earth channel. "Echo Red 1. This is Earth Forward Command. You're in violation of multiple agreements. But we've seen your broadcast." Rook smiled. "Finally, I have her," he said. "She's alive. She's important." And the Council tried to erase her. The voice replied, "Understood? Stand by. Extraction unit inbound." Lyra leaned forward. "What does that mean?" Rook looked at her and grinned. "It means backup is coming. And you're not going to be a secret anymore." She looked away, tears quietly falling. For the first time in her life, someone came. Someone broke the rules. For her dot above the stars, something changed. The galaxy didn't feel cold anymore. Asterisk Rook guided the damaged ship through silent space. The stars stretched wide around them, but danger still chased close behind. The Council had gone quiet, but that never meant peace. It meant planning. Lyra sat quietly in the co-pilot's seat, a thin emergency blanket around her shoulders. She watched him carefully now, not with fear, but with deep, silent curiosity. "Risked everything for me," she said. Rook didn't look at her. His hands stayed on the controls. "I didn't do it for a medal." "Then why?" He paused, and looked at her. "Because no one else did." The ship's alert beeped softly. Message appeared. "Earth Extraction Team, 23 minutes out." Relief touched Rook's face, but only for a second. Suddenly, a new symbol lit up on the radar. A black dot, then 2, then 8. Lyra leaned forward. "What is it?" Rook tapped the screen. "Trouble. Looks like they sent a shadow fleet." Lyra's eyes widened. "Council ships?" He nodded. "Not official ones. These are the kind that don't speak. They erase." Inside the lead shadow cruiser, a tall alien in a polished silver uniform watched Rook's ship on his screen. "He took her," the alien said with disgust. "That girl was supposed to vanish in the flames. Orders?" Silver officer's eyes narrowed. "Destroy them both, quietly." Back on Echo Red 1, Rook turned off the external lights and shut down main systems. "Going dark," he whispered. The ship drifted into silence, like a rock in space. Lyra looked nervous. "Can they see us?" "They will. But I want them to wonder where we are, not when we'll fire." "But we can't fire," Rook smirked. "Exactly." Lyra's body was still weak, but her mind was sharper now. She stared at the screen, noticing the enemy ships closing in. "They don't care if I'm alive. They just want no one to know." Rook nodded. "You're not just a refugee. You're a key. You're proof." "Proof of what?" "That the Council lied. That they left innocent people behind. That they're hiding things." Lyra looked down. "But I'm not special." Rook leaned closer. "They're risking war just to destroy you. That makes you very special." The enemy ships began to spread out. A net. They were going to box them in slow and quiet, like hunters around prey. Rook took a deep breath and reached under his seat. He pulled out a small metallic box and opened it. Inside was a glowing crystal, unstable. "Illegal and rare." "What is that?" Lyra whispered. "A gravity flare." "What does it do?" Rook smiled faintly. "Makes people panic." He flicked a switch, whispered coordinates, and launched the flare into open space away from their ship. Moments later, a brilliant pulse of energy exploded in the distance. It looked like a ship jump gone wrong, spinning plasma and false engine. Trails. The enemy ships turned sharply, chasing the false signal. Rook smiled. "Hook, line, and laser bait." Lyra stared at him in amazement. "You tricked them." "I'm not a hero," he said. "I'm just good at making bad people look the wrong way. Still, You saved me. No, Rook replied quietly. I gave you a chance. You saved yourself the moment you spoke out loud when no one was listening. Minutes later, the Earth extraction ship arrived. It wasn't large, but it was fast, strong, and fully armed. It had Earth's symbol on the side, a broken chain over. A rising star, inside the docking chamber, as the crew took Lyra into their care. One officer turned to Rook. You disobeyed direct orders. You stole military tech. You violated a council treaty. Rook stood still, unblinking, and the officer nodded slowly. And Earth saw what you saw. We reviewed your feed. We saw the girl. We saw the council run. He stepped closer. Officially, you're grounded until inquiry. But off the record, he smiled. You did good, Rook. As Lyra was moved onto a stretcher, she looked back at Rook one last time. Their eyes met. She didn't say thank you. She didn't need to. He gave her a nod, the kind that said you're safe now, but keep fighting. Because he knew something bigger had just begun. This wasn't just about one rescue. This was the first spark of something far more dangerous. The truth. Asterisk. The Earth ship moved fast through deep space, carrying two names now whispered across hidden channels. Rook the rogue pilot, and Lyra the survivor, who should not exist. In the medical bay, Lyra lay on a padded bed, wrapped in fresh bandages. Soft machines hummed around her. Clean oxygen filled her lungs. Her pain had eased, but she wasn't at peace. She stared at the ceiling, eyes wide open. What happens now? She asked the nurse. The nurse glanced at the monitor, then down at her. Earth Command will decide. You'll be questioned. Protected? Protected? Lyra whispered. From who? No one answered. In the ship's command deck, Rook stood with crossed arms as messages flashed across the HOLO- screen. News of his illegal rescue had already leaked. Some called him a traitor. Others called him a hero. But most were afraid because he had exposed something the Galactic Council wanted buried, and Earth had not yet taken a side. Suddenly, alarms began to wail. Incoming transmission priority Black Council broadcast to all ships. Turn over the subject or face immediate action. The crew fell silent. The captain stepped forward, reading the screen twice before speaking. They're not asking. Rook moved beside him. They never ask. The captain stared at Rook. They want the girl. If we hand her over, they might. Back down. Might, Rook repeated. If we don't, Earth could face war. Below deck, Lyra sat up, her body still weak, but her mind stronger now. She could feel the change in the air. Fear, not even among humans. One of the younger soldiers stood nearby, fidgeting. She looked at him and asked softly, Do they hate me too? He blinked. What? The council. Your leaders. Are they afraid of me? The young man hesitated, then slowly nodded. Not you. What you represent. In the war room, Earth's High Command appeared on screen. An older woman, sharp eyes. Silver hair. She spoke calmly, but her words shook the room. Humanity is under pressure. The council demands surrender of the girl. We must decide preserve peace or protect the truth. Rook stepped forward. If you send her back, they'll erase her. She won't survive. You know that. The woman's eyes locked on him. And if we keep her, Rook didn't blink. Then the galaxy will know that Earth stands for something more than politics. Silence followed. Then Earth Command said only one sentence. We will not hand over the girl. That was the moment everything changed. Within minutes, sensors lit up with red alerts. Multiple council ships inbound, weapons armed. Shields rising. Rook rushed to the window. Through the glass, he saw them dozens of sleek council warships. forming a wall of silver and shadow across the stars. The Earth crew stared in silence. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of choices. Rook walked to the comm panel and opened HFY wideband channel. "This is Rook, Terran pilot. The girl aboard this ship was left to die. You had your chance to help her. You chose silence. Now Earth chooses something else." He paused, staring straight into the live feed. "We choose her." The response came instantly. A low, echoing voice from the lead council cruiser. "You are protecting an illegal life form. You risk total retaliation." Rook didn't back down. "Then come. Let everyone see what you're willing to destroy to keep your lies hidden." The crew stood ready at their stations outside. Council warships charged their weapons. Then something happened. One by one, screens across Earth colonies began lighting up. Civilian ships, news channels, pirate broadcasters. They all tapped into Rook's message. They all saw the girl. They all saw what the Council was trying to erase. And they reacted not with weapons but with questions. What is she? Why are they afraid of one refugee? Why did a human break laws to save her? The Council's control was slipping inside the Earthship. Lyra watched the screens. She saw her own face, her voice, her fear, now shared across the galaxy. Her fingers gripped the blanket. "I didn't ask for this," she said quietly. Rook stepped beside her. "No, but you lived through it. And now everyone sees." Lyra looked at him not as a soldier, but as something else, someone who never gave up on a stranger. The stars outside shifted. The Council fleet suddenly paused. They hadn't expected this. Much attention. Too many eyes were watching now. Too many. Voices asking, "Why are you afraid of one girl? And one human pilot?" The Council ships didn't fire. They turned and vanished into the dark. Asterisk. The Council ships vanished beyond the stars. No words. No threats. Just silence. In the command deck of the Earth vessel. Everyone stood frozen. They had expected war. They had prepared to die. But instead, the enemy had simply disappeared. Not in defeat, but in fear. Not of weapons, but of truth. Rook removed his helmet, sweat dripping from his forehead. His jaw clenched tight. His eyes never left the empty space where the enemy fleet had stood just minutes ago. "They blinked," he muttered. "They were ready to destroy us." Then the galaxy started watching. The captain beside him let out a slow breath. One girl. One broadcast. That's all it took. Below deck, in the med bay, Lyra sat up in her bed as a medic adjusted her. "Monitors. She whispered. "They didn't fire." The medic smiled. "No, you made them stop." Lyra's lips trembled. "I'm not powerful." "No," the medic replied gently. "But the truth inside you is." Hours later, Earth Command called for a galaxy-wide press session. A live message, sent across every colony, station, and neutral world. The screen lit up. Not with Rook, not with Generals. But with Lyra. Her face was still tired. Her hands still, wrapped in gauze. But her voice? Her voice was calm, honest, clear. She looked straight into the camera. "I called for help. No one came. The people who were supposed to protect us. They turned away." She paused, taking a breath. "But a human pilot heard me. He wasn't sent. He wasn't ordered. He just chose to care. That choice saved me." Lyra's eyes filled with emotion. "I'm not here to beg. I'm here to remind the galaxy that sometimes the laws we follow protect the powerful, not the innocent." Her voice shook, but she kept going. "One man broke the rules, and because of him, I'm still alive." Her words echoed across the stars. Entire planets stopped to watch. Rebellious voices grew louder. People began questioning old leaders. And Rook? He watched it all from a quiet corner, his arms crossed, helmet at his side. A young engineer walked up to him. She said you saved her. Rook didn't smile. She saved herself the moment she decided to speak, even when no one listened. Within days, the council released a cold, formal statement. They denied abandoning the camp. They claimed no knowledge of the refugees' origin. They labeled Rook's actions reckless interference. But the galaxy had already chosen sides. And this time, it wasn't with the council. Lyra was brought to Earth safely. She walked on solid ground again, this time not as a refugee, but as a symbol. People greeted her. News crews followed her. Some called her the voice in the ashes. And always, just behind her, stood the man who refused to walk away. Rook. Weeks passed. Rook was summoned to trial. Not by the council, but by Earth Command. He stood in front of high-ranking officers, his record placed on the table. Violated orders, stolen tech, unauthorized combat. The room was quiet. Then the lead officer asked, "Would you do it again?" Rook looked them straight in the eye. "Yes." The officer sat back. "And there's only one thing to say." He picked up a new rank badge and placed it on the desk. "You're promoted." And reassigned. Rook raised an eyebrow. "To where?" The officer smiled. "To a new task force. One that answers cries no one else will." Later that night, on a quiet hill under Earth's night sky, Rook stood with Lyra. Stars shone above, clean and endless. She looked up. "You think they'll come back?" He nodded slowly. "Maybe, maybe not. But if they do?" He turned to her. "Then we'll be ready. What one human started could no longer be undone. Because in a galaxy that turned away from the weak, one human had listened, and that changed everything. Asterisk.